Should be streaming. Hello, hello. I gotta show you guys a video that just NASA always puts something out, and yeah, let me just make sure everything's working here. Looks like it is there anyway, and should be working there. Okay, so I'm just gonna remind you guys of, just like to put you in the frame of mind that I'm in right now for this video. I just want to remind us of the Tower of Babel, and God came down and saw what they were doing, and he confounded their language. Excuse me. He said they're all of one language and one tongue, and this they decide to do. And he said now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. So that clearly says that a world full of people that speak one language or can communicate in one accord or whatever can accomplish anything that they imagine to do. Doesn't mean it's good, but they can do it. So that's important. That's in Genesis chapter 11, I think. But so he confounded the language, and so I just want to say two words: Google Translate. Hey, Mountain with a View, good to see you. I just saw you over at Robert Forsh's, which is, I gotta say, you guys, I got that guy's awesome. Is his channel Truth Channel or something like that? Hey, Anthony Dickinson, good to see you. So this video just NASA put it up today, and it's kind of a series that they have. It's called Down to Earth, and they kind of interview each astronaut on like a personal level, and say, you know, how they ask them questions, or kind of just let them talk about their experience that they had up on the space station. Okay, let's watch this video, and I think I'm not going to even be able to stop myself from pausing the video and bringing up some things that. Okay, so the Tower of Babel, that was one aspect of this that I want to just remind us of for when we watch this. And then also I'm gonna read Hebrew. I'm gonna go there right now. Sorry, I didn't have it prepared, but Hebrews 11, starting in verse 8. Let's see. By faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out not knowing whither he went. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city. This is what I've been doing. A lot of us have been doing. For he looked for a city which hath foundations, whose builder and maker is God. Do you guys know which city I'm talking about? Hey, Tragic Flat Earth, good to see you. I've been praying for you, Anthony. But just keep your head up, because like I saw you say it before. If God puts you somewhere, maybe that's where He needs you, you know. So yeah, that's sad. But just be strong, whatever happens. But that city, you guys, I'm gonna also go to Revelation for a witness account an eyewitness account of this city. An actual eyewitness account. Because I just want to tell you that it's real. I have my own kind of eyewitness account, but it's in a dream, and that's really not of any significance probably to anyone but me. But look at what John said he saw here. This is in Revelation chapter 21, verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And also, Jesus mentions it in Revelation 3. He says that those who overcome will be pillars in that temple that comes down. So, just keep in mind what do you believe? What do you believe? Here we go.
The bug for space really bit me when I came down to visit my grandpa down here in Houston. So I saw the big old Saturn V rocket sitting on its belly out there and just thought, man, if humanity can do something this amazing, this awesome, I want to be a part of it. And I just fell more in love with the idea of space and being a part of something bigger than myself. The thought of actually getting to space, I couldn't wrap my head around that. You walk up to this rocket that's covered in frost from the cold fuel inside, and it's creaking and groaning and kind of alive, and you're like, well, that's pretty cool, but they're probably going to cancel. It's just not going to happen. You know, I've done so many sims, and it just can't be real. There's no way I'm going to go to space. But then when no kidding, it lights off and you feel the rumble, and then you start to move, and that kind of just constant smooth acceleration, pulling you back in the seat. Everything comes to life on the panels. You see all of the things that you've seen 100 times in Sims. In one instant, all of that I felt was unimaginable became real. And it was a magical thing I'll just never forget. You know, we're scientists and engineers and pilots and doctors. We're not poets, but we sure try to be, because you want to share as best you can the experience that you've seen and felt. I think I told my wife once I got on board that I thought it was It's a burrito of awesomeness smothered in awesome sauce, baby. It's so beautiful. It was just the beauty of being there yourself with your own eyes and seeing it. One thing that I would love to do while on orbit was, there was a window in one of the Russian modules that looked kind of out the back of the station. And I could go sit there.
Okay, I had to pause it because it seemed like my program was lagging a little bit. But as it was playing there, I wanted to mention a couple more things. Hello to Red Pill Paul. I almost said that backwards. Red Paul Pill. That was funny, Anthony. It says that in Joel 2, like verse 31 or something, or I can't remember, towards the end of Joel 2, and then in Acts 2, it says the same thing. And I think that was Peter quoting Joel 2. But yeah, that's actually a very important, significant time in prophecy that I believe we're living in right now. I mean, we're pretty cool, actually. Crazy how much it looks like a cartoon and people buy into it. You know what? The world was made to buy into it. Like we were, just wait till he says, okay, he's going to start to talk about why they have this desire. And then we're going to look back at some controversial scriptures. Hey, Brad Conan, good to see you. Controversial scriptures that seem to say, to me, exactly what Jack Schmidt is going to say, if that was his name. I think that was his name. Exactly what he's going to say in the next 2.5 minutes. So let's continue on. Thank you guys for hanging out.
I'd turn off everything and you could get it really dark in there. Let my eyes adjust and just look out at the stars. And the stars, you know, the longer you sit, the more you see, and it becomes unbelievable. The number, the just billions of stars, the Magellanic Clouds, the galaxies that you can see with your naked eye. And they don't twinkle. They just stare at you. They dare you to come and to explore.
They stare at you. And they dare you to come and explore.
It lights a fire inside your soul that is unlike anything I ever experienced before.
They light a fire inside your soul or under your soul or something. Come on. So, I'm going to go back just a few seconds. Okay, let's listen to what he says again.
They don't twinkle. They just stare at you. They dare you.
They dare you. Let me play something here.
And again I looked back, and I saw angels without mercy, having...
Whoops, we got an ad here. Sorry, guys. And I actually have to rewind it just a little bit. I really want you guys to grasp what this guy's actually saying. He's verifying what Paul said in the Vision of St. Paul, which is a controversial book. Check this out.
Power, and there was...
Whoops. Oh, it's giving me another ad. YouTube and their ads. Wow. Okay, here we go.
These angels relate to God, whether good or evil. And the angel answered and said unto me, Follow me, and I will show you the place of the just, where they are led when they are deceased. And after these things, taking thee into the abyss, I will show thee the souls of sinners, and what sort of place they are led into when they have deceased. And I proceeded back after the angel, and he led me into heaven. And I looked back upon the firmament, and I saw in the same place power, and there was there oblivion, which deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men.
So St. Paul the Apostle, he wrote a book. This is what I believe. This is what this book says that happened. He wrote the Vision of St. Paul because he remember he was taken up into heaven. And he said, I knew a man. I think you guys are probably familiar with what I'm talking about. And so this is the story of that. And he buried it in a box under his house with the shoes that he wore while he preached the gospel. And someone that was living in that house later on, an angel came to them and said, you need to dig under the foundation of the house and publish what you find. And so that, in a nutshell, this is what ended up being in that box. But, Brad Condon, yeah, the Angry Enoch narrator, same guy. And I was going to say also, no problem, Red Pill Paul. And then, Anthony, it is amazing how much our world has changed because he's removed the coverings from our eyes. He's given us eye salve so we can see. He made blind people to see. It's a miracle. That's awesome. I mean, just by realizing the earth is actually flat and stationary, basically proved every word of Scripture of it total truth and knowledge. Yes. That's even, like, the book of Isaiah even talks about that. It says, you know what? We should look. Let me go there. Because I'm not in a hurry to get through this video. There's only 2 minutes left of the NASA video. But the stuff that he says in the next 2 minutes is just, it's like straight out of the Bible. I mean, did you guys hear? He says the stars, they dare you to come and explore. And Paul, I should almost play that again. I played it a little, I went a little too far back, but let's listen to this.
Fled when they are deceased. And after these things, taking thee into the abyss, I will show thee the souls of sinners, and what sort of place they are led into when they have deceased. And I proceeded back after the angel, and he led me into heaven.
Okay, so the angel led him into heaven.
I looked back upon the firmament, and I saw in the same place.
So he looked back upon the firmament, and he saw in the same place
Power, and there was there oblivion, which deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men, and the spirit of detraction, and the spirit of fornication, and the spirit of madness, and the spirit of insolence. And there were there the princes of vices.
Okay, so they draw down, or it draws down to itself the hearts of men, and it deceives, this oblivion, okay? And the spirit of detraction, and the spirit of fornication, and the spirit of madness, and the spirit of insolence. And there were there the princes of vices. These are the fallen angels, you guys. These I saw under the firmament of heaven, and again I looked back, and I saw angels without mercy, having no pity, whose countenance was full of madness. Okay? Not a good place, guys. The firmament. Okay, let's continue on here. Hey, Nez Lover, good to see you.
To come and to explore, it lights a fire inside your soul that is unlike anything I ever experienced before or since. And it's why you see astronauts, you know, they say 560, 580, I don't know how many people have gone to space. They're all the same. They all have that bug. And they all want to do everything in their power after experiencing that to make sure that humanity reaches its potential, that we get there, that we don't just see the stars, that we explore them, that we live there, that we grow into what we can be. And you're reminded of the incredible potential that we have as humans when we put everything else aside and just work together. And you feel a part of that. Looking out the cupola and just being a part of thousands of people from across this globe that have put together this just palace in the sky for us to discover and learn and grow. It showed me the potential of what humanity can be when you work together as one team. It inspired me to do everything I can in my power for the rest of my life to enable humanity to evolve, to get there, to those stars that were staring straight in my face and daring us to come get them. That is something that you can never quench. It's been a couple years since I flew, and that fire still burns just as strong today as it will when I die.
So there's a fire burning, huh? Burning in your soul. Who's your father, Jack Schmidt? Listen to this, guys. Isaiah 14, verse... Actually, look on your screen what it says right there. ISS 20 years on the International Space Station. Let me read you something. I'm on NASA.gov mission pages. Space Station overview index And this is the, well, let's see here, 20 continuous years of life on the space station, celebrating 20 years of human presence on the ISS. So I just want to make clear that make sure that everyone knows what this is actually saying. This is saying that NASA can leave the Earth. They can leave God's creation and go to another place. And now they've been there for 20 years. Oh, that's awesome, Anthony Dickinson. I would love to talk to Rob Skiba sometime. I would. I just said I know he's a busy guy. But I would love to study with Rob carefully, meticulously, in detail. Enoch chapter 10, Enoch chapter 18, 19, 21, 56, 57, 80. And that would be enough to convince Rob of what space is. Because I know that's awesome. Anthony said Rob Skiba was actually pondering that the firmament is looking like the prison bars of evil. He mentioned it last Sabbath on BHC. I didn't even hear that. I think I was even there in that stream. Yeah, Brad, isn't that crazy? The parabolic arc, the orbit, you guys. This is the whole deception, the orbit, the universe, the heliocentric model. I would love that, Anthony, and I actually haven't really thought about trying to really do that before. I should leave a message on one of his, I don't even know how to, but I'm sure I could find out. Because, yeah, this is something that, you know, just like what we were just listening to, the vision of Paul, it said he looked back at the firmament and saw evil that draws down deception or whatever to the hearts of men. And then we have, you know, I'm just going to play this part again really quick. Where is it? Right here, I think. I'll go back a little bit.
With your naked eye. And they don't twinkle. They just stare at you. They dare you to come and to explore.
So, like it says this in Enoch chapter 19. I'm going to have to read that. I know I read it in every live stream I do pretty much. But there's a reason why I read it. It's because people don't seem to see that what wickedness is in this, like, they do, but they don't. And Uriel said to me, "Here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind, and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged, till they are made an end of." And where was he? He was up in that waste and horrible place where the 7 planets are bound. He was in outer darkness. Outer darkness. Hey, there you go, Anthony. That'd be awesome. And you know, I know Rob's got a big platform and stuff, so maybe mention to him that we could do it, just a little show, just a little live stream or something on my channel would be awesome too. Just to study Enoch, just a few things, and then we'd obviously get into the book of Jude and some of these other scriptures, like this in Isaiah 14, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God." You know what NASA called this video, right? I don't remember what it was. It was Palace in the Sky. Palace in the Sky. How's that? Jesus has a palace in the sky. Who do you guys believe? Like, this guy obviously doesn't believe in Jesus, right?
It lights a fire inside your soul that is unlike anything I ever experienced before.
Because I think it's very clear in the Bible that Jesus has a holy mountain up there called Mount Zion. Obadiah 1 verse 4 says, "Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord." The verse before that says, "The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" That is Apollo, guys. That's the spirit of exploration. The false god. Nez Lover, I totally understand your outlook, and I agree with Team New World Order. That's what it is. But as far as them being actors, I'm not trying to argue or have a debate about what the actual reality that we're seeing is, because I think we don't really necessarily know everything, but I see your comments there, and I do want to comment on them. As far as they are all actors or harnesses and wires, fisheye lenses in the sky. Don't only think that way. We know, because God showed us. I'm just being blunt. We know because God showed us that it's a lie. It's deception. And we know it. It isn't a question in our hearts and minds. We know it. Right, Nez? Now, as far as what the details of it are, aren't really all that important, to be honest. But I think that if they're being revealed to some of us in certain ways, that at least we should consider them. Maybe not. It's not like you have to believe something that someone else is saying, but at least consider the things. We know that. I'll bring it back to the airplane, the Wright brothers, when they kind of made that, that time, 110 or 120 years ago, we as human beings started seeing the world a different way, just in the fact that the idea of flying wasn't a fairy tale anymore. And then very quickly, obviously, we found out how to break some barriers of our reality and go faster than the sound that the vehicle we're in is making, if that makes sense. Doesn't make much sense, but it happens. So then they're flying fast. They're going faster than the speed of sound. And I think we've all seen jets flying by on videos, and the sound comes a little bit late, and there's a sonic boom. So what I'm saying is that let's step it up a notch, and instead of flying through the thick air down here, let's keep going up higher and higher and higher, just like Satan wants, just like Lucifer says in his heart. He's going to ascend into heaven. He's going to exalt his throne above the stars of God, right? I try to find a place here.
You can never quench. It's been a couple years since I flew, and that fire still burns just as strong today as it will when I die. Daring us to come, it inspired me to do everything I can in my power for the rest of my life to enable humanity to evolve, to get there, to those stars that were staring straight in my face and daring us to come get them.
Those stars daring us to come and get them. Let me read you something. I want to say it's in Amos chapter 9. verse 6. It is he that buildeth his stories in the heaven, and hath founded his troop in the earth. He hath called for the waters of the sea, and poureth them out upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. Now, I'm not going to say what you believe, but I know what I believe. And I know that God's tabernacle, in the Bible anyway, is up in the sky. Literally, like up in the sky. That's where the spiritual realm is. Or not the spiritual, the celestial realm, the heavenly realm. Because there's also a spiritual realm on the earth. There's demons on the earth. And I think they're unclean spirits that torment men, and I think you can see that all over the world. And I think they've multiplied. Like, they're tormenting everybody with a scary pandemic, which is nothing. Okay. So there was another thing I was going to show you. Or not show you, but read to you. And I already went over this in the beginning, but the people, when they built the Tower of Babel, and the Lord said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Hey, Chris Creek and Beck from Oz, good to see you guys. But yeah, Nez Lover, what I was kind of saying was, I see another angle of the story, and I definitely see why you would say they're actors. But can we look at it possibly a different way and say, or additionally a different way? How's that? That what we can see, hey Parkway, what we can see happening is there's kind of two ways to look at it. This astronaut on the screen right now, I used to look at it as if he was a deceiver. And in a way I do right now, but not in the way that I did before. Like how you said they're all actors. Well, they're actors, but in their own heart, they believe the things that they're doing, and they believe that they're good, and they believe that they should be spreading it around in the world so the world believes it too. Yes, Beck from Oz says it. He's hoodwinked too. That's what it is. You know how, I mean, if we really think about it, Satan deceived the whole world. That's everyone, me and you included. And if we look, I mean, anybody in here, hey Marissa, good to see you. That's an interesting comment. I think that these people are being deceived. NASA. And yeah, they're deceiving the world, but it's kind of the same way that you could look at your elementary school teacher as being a deceiver. Okay, she taught you live on a spinning ball, or he taught you, whoever it was. But they believed it to be truth when they taught it to you. So it gets that there's just another angle. Yeah, some are deceived as well as being used to deceive others. I agree with that. Hey Marissa, how about if you be nicer? I could be the scum of the earth, or Marissa could, or Nez could, or Beck from Oz could, or anybody could. But that doesn't really help the conversation to go anywhere, does it? Thanks, Anthony and Beck. I think that it, like, there's really no reason to come into a chat and like try to rip on somebody. It doesn't make you look good and them look bad. Plus, I was talking to Nez Lover about some of his comments. So basically, there's these spiritual entities that are imprisoned in the darkness, the blackness of darkness. And they draw down, what did it say in the vision of Paul? It said, there's an oblivion which deceives and draws down to itself the hearts of men, and all those spirits of detraction, fornication, madness, insolence. And there were the princes of vices. These are the fallen angels from Genesis 6 that came down and took human wives. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading the chat a little bit. Beck, that was a great stream you guys did yesterday. As usual, thank you. Yeah, that's crazy what's going on in your end of the world there in Australia. It's really crazy. Hey, Davey313, how you doing? Always good to see Davey313. Hey, you know what though, Nez? Trolls need to hear the truth too. So I like on Facebook and stuff, I have a few people blocked, but I actually haven't looked at that list lately. But it's only people that have tried to well, basically I would say lied about me, and a lot of them write to me, which is weird. But I don't really block people, like really anybody. You can say like whatever, and I'm not gonna block you on Facebook or something like that. I'll voice my opinion, but yeah. If you guys were subscribed to Richie RFB, Richie from Boston, I guess he lost his channel, and I still haven't seen it up. So he's been on this channel called The Banned Ones 911. I'll spell it out: THEBANNEDONE 911. And so that's where I've been getting Richie's videos. Yeah, Beck from Oz, it's a good point. When you're a mod in a chat, you start to recognize names really fast. Thank you, Beck. That's Richie's channel, The Banned One. That troll gets around. That's okay. You know what? I honestly think that a lot of the people that do some trolling, they're probably going to be more familiar with a lot of the truth that we're talking about if they're trolling. Like, they're just going to be hearing it. So, you know, like, obviously, what was her name? Marissa? I saw a couple comments, and that's when I commented. But, yeah, I know you guys. Hey, Flat Earth Coffee House. I know you guys use the same kind of discretion. That's like, we're not trying to, like, block somebody out and time somebody out for saying hi and, you know, maybe disagreeing or so. It's not that. Just the insults. We don't need them. Hey, Elder Willie. Well, it's good to know, because you must be one of Marissa's friends. Fun times, guys. So, do you guys know... Oh, I'm going to play something for you. This is... let's see if I can do this. Okay, just let me play this just for a second. It's going to be just... Whoops, it's just going to be silent, but I'm going to let my cat out really quick. But just look at what's on the screen and think about a battle that happens between some angels in the book of Revelation, and then we'll talk about it quick. Okay, you guys see that? This is Falcon 9 footage. Thank you, Anthony. Davey313 says Revelation 21. Yeah, and okay, so what we're watching here is a rocket that SpaceX launches, and this is as it's falling back to the Earth, and it's going through the air there. And those grid fins you see on the screen, they're big 4-foot by 5-foot titanium, big, huge grid fins. They're like as big as a person. They don't look very big here, but so they're cutting through the air there, and they actually have to be made out of titanium, because if you made them out of aluminum or some other metal, they would basically disintegrate. That's how much, you know, that's one of the reasons why I think it's ridiculous when the flat earthers say, you can't get through the dome, when we clearly watch them enter and leave the Earth in a fireball. It's a plasma ball. That, like, I could probably show you a video of it here. Let me find one. Plasma. It's like, what is that, 3,000 or 4,000 degrees or something? When they're coming back into the atmosphere, that's why the shuttle, when, I think it was Endeavour maybe, or whatever, or I don't even remember, whatever the one that was coming back in when it disintegrated, and we lost 7 astronauts or whatever. That is, they burnt up as they were trying to enter the Earth from outside of the Earth. I mean, let's see here. I think I'm not sure if I'll have a video of what I'm looking for, but so Daniel saw a beast, and it was a king that was going to arise out of the earth. And oh, here's plasma. Let's check this out. Okay, so what you're seeing on your screen here is it's a simple thing. Okay, let me find an image or a video or something. You know when you see a rocket and it launches and the top of the rocket is a little bit wider in diameter than the bottom of the rocket. I'm trying to find a video here of it. I think I got one here. We got some Enoch in the background, I think, but there's there's a fairing, it's called, and what it is it's like a shell. It's like an outer shell, and all it's there for is to protect whatever they have in the rocket from the air resistance as it's launching up out of the Earth or whatever. And I'm having problems finding that video. I just want to show you an image. Oh, wait, I think I just saw it. Yes, right here. Okay. This is them testing a fairing. And this is where the satellite would be inside of the fairing. I'm going to have to turn the volume off here. Okay. So this is slow motion. This is in a vacuum chamber. And they're just testing the jettison of the fairing, that it'll clear the rocket, not like hit into the rocket as the rocket goes by. And I can show you another video, an actual video from inside the fairing. I have to find it though, sorry guys. They have a camera mounted inside each half of the fairing, and somewhere, here we go, fairing deploy. This is an actual video right here of that separation. There's the rocket, its satellite, whatever, it continues to go, and now you'll be able to see the other fairing, and this is the camera inside this fairing, and you can see it just falling, right? So then they just, basically they go on that ballistic trajectory, and then they parachute, and they try to save them because they're like something like $6 million to build a fairing. So they try to reuse them. But as you can see in this video, that is what it looks like from the one side. And so when I was playing that plasma video, this is also a camera mounted inside one of those fairings, and it's falling back to Earth now, and it creates plasma as it's coming into the Earth. So I don't know if this is a window or what. Hey Nelda Matthieson, good to see you. Growler, yay, what's up, brother? Good to see ya. So we're just gonna look quickly at this is a video I made, and I'm gonna have to skip around a little bit in the video to find the part that I want to share. But whoops, where did that go? There it is. Okay, it's an effed up world observation, by the way. So I gotta find a part here though. Sorry. Okay, we're getting to the part here. I'm going to turn the volume on.
And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree.
Okay, so there's 4 angels. John saw this. This is another witness testimony. John saw 4 angels holding, or they were standing on the 4 corners of the earth, and they were holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor any tree. So what are the winds? The 4 winds, holding the 4 winds, the angels holding the 4 winds. Well, this is what's kind of scary, you guys. We live in that time, because John also witnessed something. This is very important. Revelation 12, John saw something happening up in heaven. And I'm going to start in verse 7. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Okay, hold on, guys. We're going to play something in the background without sound while I read a little bit more of this about the dragon. You guys got to realize that John was witnessing the future end of the world. So a lot of us believe, for many different reasons, that we're living the time that John actually witnessed. I'm looking for the video here. And there was a dragon waiting to devour this child that was being born, or you could almost say being born again, and I think that would still even be right. Okay, I have a video called "Satan's Not a Rocket." Might as well. I gotta find it though. It's in a different folder, I guess. Sorry guys, I didn't think I would have a hard time finding this. I think I know where it is though. There we are. There it is. Okay. Okay, I just wanted to play that in the background because there is a dragon, guys, flying in the sky. Roderick, what's up? No Curve, what's up? Good to see all you guys. There's a dragon, guys. Okay, so There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Well, who are Michael's angels that the dragon's going to be fighting? Who are they? Well, I suggest that we just read about them in Revelation 7. There was 4 angels holding back the four winds from hurting the earth. So what happens when they let go? And who's fighting them? Dragon. Want me to show you what it looks like? I will show you a video of dragon fighting against the 4 winds of heaven. Or the angels, I should say. He's fighting against the angels that are holding those winds. And do you know what the winds are? The winds are the pillars of heaven. They hold up the heavens. They bear the earth and the heaven. And the firmament of heaven. I'm looking for a video, as I always am. It probably gets really annoying watching my videos when I'm sitting here looking for a video the whole time. So, these guys are talking about the dragon.
The only ride of the station has been on the Russian Soyuz 39A in Cape Canaveral.
The dragon. The dragon. It's a little horn, guys. And it arises out of the earth. It has a notable horn between its eyes. And its tail makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Check this out. Here's fighting in heaven. It's a war, guys. It's a war. You can't tell me that is not the 4 winds of heaven and a dragon up in heaven. It's the sky. What is it doing up there? What is all that? What's happening? Are we going to pretend that we have some great understanding of the heavens and that this is just not a big deal? Oh, that's convenient. I'm going to show you where the 2 fairings are. Right there. Those are those fairings that we were watching fall. Each fairing half, that's right there and there. This is dragon up on the screen. And the part, those are the 2 fairings. And then it'll go over to the right, I think, and we'll see the Falcon 9. Hey, cosmetic dentist. You see it? Do you see the war? Here's the war. Right there. I feel like I should just live stream this until the sky falls down. Yeah, Growler, true. They can't do anything against him, but he did ordain destruction. You know, he ordained the sky. He declared that it would roll back like a scroll and the stars would fall to the ground. Wow, Nez, you do have some fans, don't ya? Bye-bye, cosmetic dentist. Come back or stick around and listen, but okay, so and this is important because look what it says. There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So that I could put that up on your screen too. I mean, I can play a video of any of these things. Any of these things. Let's see. Maybe I'll maybe I will play this. I think we need to check this video out.
Sunday morning, the SpaceX Dragon cargo spacecraft was installed on the Earth-facing side of the Harmony module, 3 days after its launch from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
I just want to remind you that John, in the Revelation, all of a sudden he was in the Spirit on the Lord's Day, and all of a sudden he saw Jesus and all these things, and Jesus gave him a commandment right then and there. He said, write down what you see in a book and send it to these churches. And you guys, we have a copy, and this is such an amazing thing if you understand what we're seeing. John literally gave us his testimony that he was living in a time when there was great tribulation and all these things that he was talking about and describing in the vision. I mean, he saw these trumpets being blown. He saw the Lamb of God opening the seal, a book that had 7 seals, and he had to eat this book, and it was like, and then he was told he'd have to prophesy to many nations and tongues and kings or whatever about what he saw, and he wrote it in this book. So I'm just reminding us that because a lot of people like to put like symbolism and things into these dragon and all this stuff, but let's just listen to what John says. He said that he saw a dragon giving power to this beast. That would be on your screen right here, but I'm just trying to say that it's really simple now that these things are in the world. So a lot of people say, Satan's not a rocket ship or a space capsule. And I'm like, that's not what John said. John said the great dragon was called the devil and Satan, and he deceived the whole world, and he was cast out into the earth. I can show you a video of him being cast out into the earth. 10 years ago, you wouldn't be able to do that, okay? 10 years ago, there wasn't a dragon in the sky. There wasn't. So that's why I want people to understand that when these space agencies and organizations are trying to rile the world up, it's exactly what it says in Psalm 2. I'm going to go there quick. Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. And someone already mentioned in the chat this verse, I think it was Growler. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore pleasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord hath said unto me, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. You know, that's like a prophecy of Jesus right there. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. The promised land, you guys. Mount Zion, New Jerusalem. It's pretty awesome. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to play a little bit more of this video here.
European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano grappled the Dragon using the space station's robotic arm, Canadarm2, and NASA astronaut Andrew Morgan provided backup. The SpaceX Dragon brings 5,700 pounds of research, crew supplies, and hardware to the space station.
They worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
See the International Space Station with your naked eye. I've seen it. You know, you look up and people are looking at it, and they got their binoculars and they're looking at it, and you know, it's a little light, God, and it's moving. No.
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Right now, you can log on to the internet if you want to. And you can go to the International Space Station, the ISS, and you can get a live feed from that space station. Right now, you can watch it as it moves across the face of the earth.
Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Think of all these people that are going to be going up.
The Dragon will spend about 1 month at the station and then return to Earth with cargo and research results.
And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast.
Thousands of photographs and videos from the space station as it moved in the heavens above the earth. It such a magnificent sight, it took his breath away.
Space is so incredibly black, so incredibly dark. It's a bottomless pit, bottomless pit.
The world isn't getting it. He's already doing what he's going to do. Technical difficulties, it sounds like, again. My program does that every once in a while, and I just have to pause it. But I think this deception, Apollyon, the angel of the bottomless pit, already deceived the world. And now we live in a time that people are coming, that a very short period of time, this is in the Bible, that people can come out of that deception by the power of the Holy Spirit. And Jesus opening their eyes, doing a miracle, healing the blind. I am witness to it in my own life. And I know thousands of people that also have had their eyes open to the truth, not because of them, but because of the Spirit of truth. Amen, Roderick. I like that. Hey, Charles, we never heard Flat Earth growing up, but when we did, we were quickened. Tragic Flat Earth, praise God, Jesus saves. And that's what I think is so awesome, is that I could play that video. I'm going to play a video. I don't remember who put it out. You guys have probably even seen it maybe before. But it's a little story of when Jesus was here. I just got to find it here. There it is. Jesus heals the blind. Check this out. Okay, I just had to butt in here. See that guy sitting on the step there? I could probably use a lot of people in the chat for an example, but I'll just use myself. That's me. That's me about 6 years ago or something. I didn't really know. That's me. That's what I'm saying. And the thing that happens in this story happened to me. So check it out. So he told him to go wash. Just imagine what it would be like to not see and then to do this. Open your eyes and see this. Then later Jesus ran into him because this is like a controversial thing. Jesus was doing miracles all over, and the Pharisees and Sadducees were kind of freaking out, going, this guy's showing, like, yeah. He was reproving them is really what was happening, I think. So I'm gonna end the stream on this. I gotta look up a verse here. My program's having trouble again. Sorry, guys. I have to pause it for a minute. Look what it says there. If you were blind, you would have no sin. But since you see, since you say we see, your sin remains. Apply that to today. Because my testimony is that I was blind, but now I see because of him giving me eye salve so that I could see. Before that I couldn't see, but didn't know it. And Jesus actually, this is where I'm going to end this stream on, guys. By the way, thank you all for hanging out. For sure. Lori Tillman, awesome to see you. I think I said hi to everyone, but if I missed anyone, I didn't mean to. So, yes, Davey313, Jesus told us that we can do more than what he has done here. Be bold, strong, courageous. And if you're called, remember that you're called in righteousness. And there's no higher authority or more honorable authority to serve than what God considers righteousness. So it's kind of interesting there, but Revelation 3, this is Jesus saying, he's saying this to those churches in that vision that John wrote down. And it's not just to those churches. It's actually to the servants of God, the servants of Jesus Christ. If you consider yourself to be a servant of Jesus Christ, then these words are for you personally. This is what what's in the book. he says, Revelation 3, verse 17, he says, because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods, and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. You can't pass that up, you guys. And I'm like, here, there's a lot of people in the chat too. We're witness to this. When we look back at ourselves 5 or 6 years ago, we do see a person. I mean, it's not like fun to think of it this way, but we do see a person that thinks that they're rich and increased with goods and have need of nothing, and they don't know. Like, I'll just use myself to be more correct, I guess. I didn't know that I was wretched and miserable. I didn't know I was poor or blind or naked. But now, when I look back at what I was all those things. But I couldn't see that until he showed me. And this is for any man, any woman, anybody that hears this. He says, behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him. And this is literal, guys. This is for real. And will sup with him and he with me. That is a real thing, and that's all I can say. There's so many people having this happen to them in their life, and I think it's simply, there's something here. This is also controversial. If I was to say that flat earth is the grace of God being sent unto us at the revelation of Jesus. If I was to say that, that's controversial. If I said that flat earth was the glory of God being revealed, that would also be controversial. If I said that flat earth was the salvation of God and all flesh shall see it together, that would also be controversial. But there's a truth, not just a truth. It's more than a truth, but there's a truth that came down from heaven. Hey, Lady K, good to see you. This is what there's a lot of people that have experienced. Let me read to you about it in Zechariah. You like how I'm going to close this stream with this verse, and then that never happened yet. Zechariah chapter 12. Let's check that out. I just want to read you something. I think it's in 12. No, it's in 13. Hold on. In that day, there shall be a fountain open to the house of David and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem for sin and for uncleanness. And it shall come to pass in that day that saith the Lord of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols out of the land, and they shall no more be remembered. And I will also cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass out of the land. there's a time when people can turn away from their iniquity, and they can only do it because of the Holy Spirit. So I think that's what this is about. I think calling on the name of the Lord is believing the truth. And a lot of people would say, because we can find verses in the Bible that say that the law of God is the truth. It is the truth. But there's lots of things we can say and quote Bible verses. And yeah, see, that backs that up. Okay, great. But what about reality that we live in? What truth came down from heaven in your lifetime? Or I should say like 5 years ago, because it happened worldwide. So I guess basically what I'm saying is when Isaiah 40 says, every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places made plain, and the glory of, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. That's saying that the glory of the Lord's going to be revealed. And it said it right after it was talking about valleys and hills and mountains. And it was describing them being flattened. Filling up the valleys and making the mountains and hills low. And people will say, oh, that's a stretch. That's not talking about the earth. No, it is actually specifically talking about the earth. Mountains, valleys, hills. All these is when the shape of the ground changes from a flat ground to inclined, and that's a mountain or a hill, or declined, and that's a valley. So you can't interpret that to mean anything other than what it says, because where are valleys, where are mountains, where are hills? I mean, people have accused me of like taking and making my own private interpretation. Same thing with Luke chapter 3. Is John the Baptist quoting Isaiah, and he says, every valley will be filled, and every mountain and hill will be made low, and the crooked will be made straight, and the rough places smooth, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. So when I do say some of these controversial things, it's only because I see them to be reality in our world, and this time that we live in is, I guess a word I don't really use or like to use, unprecedented. It's a very specific time written about in the Bible. I guess I'm going to end this stream with a video of Isaiah. You guys will like this, I think. Isaiah, I think it's chapters 24, 25, 26, and 27, I think. Yeah, that's what it is. Check it out. This is worth a listen. Isaiah, chapter 24, verse 1. Behold, the Lord maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest, as with the servant, so with his master, as with the maid, so with her mistress, as with the buyer, so with the seller, as with the lender, so with the borrower, as with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for the Lord has spoken this word. The earth mourneth and fadeth away, the world languisheth and fadeth away, the haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. The new wine mourneth, the vine languisheth, and all the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth, the noise of them that rejoice endeth, the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink it. The city of confusion is broken down. Every house is shut up, that no man may come in. There's a crying for wine in the streets. All joy is darkened. The mirth of the land is gone. In the city is left desolation, and the gate is smitten with destruction. When thus it shall be in the midst of the land among the people, there shall be as the shaking of an olive tree, and as the gleaning grapes when the vintage is done. They shall lift up their voice. They shall sing for the majesty of the Lord. They shall cry aloud from the sea. Wherefore glorify ye the Lord in the fires, even the name of the Lord God of Israel in the isles of the sea. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. But I said, my leanness, woe unto me. The treacherous dealers have dealt treacherously, yea, the treacherous dealers have dealt very treacherously. Fear and the pit and the snare are upon thee, O inhabitant of the earth. And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit. And he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are... Sorry, I had to pause it. It seemed to be lagging again, and I didn't want you guys to miss this part. Listen to what it's talking about, the windows on high. Thanks, Anthony. It's good to have you around always. I appreciate that. From on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. The earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high, the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days they shall be visited. Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when the Lord of hosts shall reign in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem, I think that's New Jerusalem, and before his ancients gloriously. This is chapter 25 now. O Lord, thou art my God. I will exalt thee. I will praise thy name, for thou hast done wonderful things. Thy counsels of old are faithfulness and truth. For thou hast made of a city an heap, of a defenced city a ruin, a palace of strangers to be no city. It shall never be built. Therefore shall the strong people glorify thee. The city of the terrible nations shall fear thee. For thou hast been a strength to the poor, a strength to the needy in his distress, a refuge from the storm, a shadow from the heat, when the blast of the terrible ones is as a storm against the wall. Thou shalt bring down the noise of strangers as the heat in a dry place, even the heat in the shadow of the cloud. With the shadow of the cloud. Sorry about that. The branch of the terrible ones shall be brought low. And in this mountain shall the Lord of hosts... Oh, this program's giving me trouble. Sorry, guys. I don't know why it does that, But there's 10 more minutes of this before I get done reading. I just like this, this is talking about the time we live in, you guys. And I guess maybe the way that it's written, the language it's written in, or whatever you want to call it, the style it's written in, it's easy to not realize that these guys that wrote this, Isaiah that wrote this, was writing about something very real to him. And the words he was using really meant something to him. So I'm just going to encourage people to consider what these guys are saying. Like, very carefully consider what they're saying. Here, we'll try again here. Make unto all people a feast of fat things, a feast of wines on the lees, of fat things full of marrow, of wines on the lees well refined. And he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. He will swallow up death in victory, and the Lord God will wipe away tears from off all faces, and the rebuke of his people shall he take away from off all the earth, for the Lord hath spoken it. And it shall be said in that day, Lo, this is our God. We have waited for him, and he will save us. This is the Lord. We have waited for him. We will be glad and rejoice in his salvation. For in this mountain shall the hand of the Lord rest, and Moab shall be trodden down under him, even as straw is trodden down for the dunghill. And he shall spread forth his hands in the midst of them, as he that swimmeth spreadeth forth his hands to swim. And he shall bring down their pride together with the spoils of their hands. Okay, check this out. And the fortress of the high fort of thy walls shall he bring down, lay low, and bring to the ground, even to the dust. Chapter 26. In that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. We have a strong city, salvation will God appoint for walls and bulwarks. Open ye the gates, that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter in. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, because he trusteth in thee. Trust ye in the Lord forever, for the Lord Jehovah is everlasting strength. For he bringeth down them that dwell on high. The lofty city, he layeth it low. He layeth it low even to the ground. He bringeth it even to the dust. The foot shall tread it down. Oh, that's just awful. Sorry, guys. I'm just looking on my computer to see if I have anything running that I can shut off. I'm going to try to get rid of that. And that. I'm just shutting programs down. Okay. Everything's off that I don't need. Or wait, no. There we go. Alright. Hopefully that, I don't know, it could just, sometimes it just does this. I don't know why. It was a cheap program. No complaints though. Okay. Here we go. Even the feet of the poor and the steps of the needy. The way of the just is uprightness. Thou most upright dost weigh the path of the just. Yea, in the way of thy judgments, O Lord, we have waited for thee. The desire of our soul is to thy name and to the remembrance of thee. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yea, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness? In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. Lord, when thy hand is lifted up, they will not see, but they shall see, and be ashamed for their envy at the people. Yea, the fire of thine enemies shall devour them. Lord, thou wilt ordain peace for us, for thou also hast wrought all our works in us. O Lord our God, other lords beside thee have had dominion over us, but by thee only will we make mention of thy name. They are dead, they shall not live. They are deceased, they shall not rise. Therefore hast thou visited and destroyed them, and made all their memory to perish. Thou hast increased the nation, O Lord, thou hast increased the nation. Thou art glorified. Thou hast removed it far unto all the ends of the earth. Lord, in trouble have they visited thee. They poured out a prayer when thy chastening was upon them. Like as a woman with child that draweth near the time of her delivery is in pain, and crieth out in her pain, so have ye been in thy sight, O Lord. We have been with child, we have been in pain, we have as it were brought forth wind, we have not wrought any deliverance in the earth, neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen. Thy dead men shall live, together with my dead body shall they arise. Awake and sing, ye that dwell in the dust, for thy dew is as the dew of herbs, and the earth shall cast out the dead. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were a little moment, until the indignation be overpast. I can't handle it. Sorry, guys. I think it just, I've got all my programs not running and everything, so really I'm not really doing anything on my computer that should slow it down, so I really don't know. But if I pause it every time it gets really bad, then it seems to clear up for a while. So, for behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. Chapter 27. In that day the Lord with his sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan the piercing serpent, even Leviathan that crooked serpent. He shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. In that day sing ye unto her a vineyard of red wine. I the Lord do keep it. I will water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I will keep it night and day. Fury is not in me. Who would set the briars and thorns against me in battle? I would go through them. I would burn them together. Or let him take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me, and he shall make peace with me. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take roots. Israel shall blossom and bud, and fill the face of the world with fruit. Hath he smitten him as he smote those that smote him? Or is he slain according to the slaughter of them that are slain by him? In measure, when it shooteth forth, thou wilt debate with it. He stayeth his rough wind in the day of the east wind. By this therefore shall the iniquity of Jacob be purged, and this is all the fruit to take away his sin, when he maketh all the stones of the altar as chalk stones that are beaten in sunder, and groves and images shall not stand up. Yet the defenced city shall be desolate, and the habitation forsaken and left like a wilderness. There shall the calf feed, and there shall he lie down, and consume the branches thereof. When the boughs thereof are withered, they shall be broken off. The women come and set them on fire, for it is a people of no understanding. Therefore he hath made them will not have he that hath made them will not have mercy on them, and he that formed them will show them no favor. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered one by one, O ye children of Israel. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown. Okay, I had to pause it because it started doing it again. But this is a really this video is almost over, the Isaiah one, but I'm going to be playing a bunch of verses about heaven and where God lives next. And then right after that, a bunch of verses, it's all quotes of what Jesus said, just here and there in the book of John. I think most of them are in the book of John, but that's coming up. So, but listen to what Isaiah says here. And they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the Lord in the holy mountain at Jerusalem. And that's about all I was going to read. I just wanted to read those chapters in Isaiah. That lofty city is space. And it's going to be thrown down with violence. It's Babylon the Great. It's a prison for fallen angels. We just read about the prison. We just read about how it's on high. Let's see here. Let me go back just to review one little thing here. Chapter 24, verse 22. And they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit, and shall be shut up in the prison, and after many days they shall be visited. And in that day shall this song be sung in the land of Judah. A song is being sung. Chapter 26, verse 21. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. 24, verse 16. From the uttermost part of the earth have we heard songs, even glory to the righteous. Isaiah 24, verse 6. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. I want to go to Zechariah and just talk about that curse really quick. Zechariah 5, I'm just going to read a couple verses. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, a flying roll. Like a flying roll. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth, for everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it, and everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name. A flying roll. This is a pen, but you can imagine. The only thing that goes up to heaven. Rockets. Alright guys, have a good one. Psalm 18 verse 9. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. Isaiah 50 verse 3. I clothe the heavens with blackness, and I make sackcloth their covering. Proverbs 30 verse 4. Who hath ascended up into heaven, or descended? Who hath gathered the wind in his fists? Who hath bound the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell? Deuteronomy 4 verse 11. And ye came near and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire unto the midst of heaven, with darkness, clouds, and thick darkness. Revelation 21 verse 2. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. John 1 verse 32. And John bare record, saying, I saw the Spirit descending from heaven like a dove, and it abode upon him. Deuteronomy 4 verse 39. Know therefore this day, and consider it in thine heart, that the Lord, he is God in heaven above, and upon the earth beneath there is none else. Job 22 verse 12. Is not God in the height of heaven? And behold the height of the stars, how high they are. John 3 verse 13. And no man hath ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. Psalm 102 verse 19. For he hath looked down from the height of his sanctuary. From heaven did the Lord behold the earth. Psalm 115 verse 3. But our God is in the heavens. He hath done whatsoever he hath pleased. Matthew 26, verse 64. Jesus saith unto him, Thou hast said, nevertheless I say unto you, hereafter shall ye see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Job 37, verse 18. Hast thou with him spread out the... Wow, it just gets really bad, and like, I don't know why. It's got to be some kind of setting, something that I have set on my computer. Like, there's so many settings in the program. Since I'm just giving it a second, like what kind of renderer I need to use. I'll show you what it says. DirectX or Direct Show. I have no idea what any of these things mean. Resize algorithm. And there's a lot more. That's just the general ones. Oh, I might be able to do this. Okay, it says increase the value to prevent the audio interruption during a playback. I already have it set at 480. We're going up. We're going to see if it helps. Okay, let's try. The sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass. Isaiah 66, verse 1. Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye build unto me? Where is the place of my rest? Psalm 11, verse 4. The Lord is in his holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes behold, his eyelids try the children of men. Psalm 14, verse 2. The Lord looked down from heaven upon the children of men to see if there were any that did understand and seek God. Psalm 33, verse 13. The Lord looketh from heaven, he beholdeth all the sons of men. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. For the law was given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God. That which is born of flesh is flesh, and that which is born of spirit is spirit. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, we speak that we do know, and testify that we have seen, and ye receive not our witness. If I have told you earthly things, and ye believe not, how shall ye believe if I tell you of heavenly things? And no man ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven, even the Son of Man which is in heaven. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men loved darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, and his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. God is spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that hear shall live. And ye have not his word abiding in you, for whom he hath sent. Him ye believe not. And ye will not come to me, that ye might have life. I am come in my Father's name, and ye receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him ye will receive. Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There is one that accuseth you, even Moses, in whom ye trust. For had ye believed Moses, ye would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if ye believe not his writings, how shall ye believe my words? And Jesus said unto them, I am the bread of life. He that cometh to me shall never hunger, and he that believeth on me shall never thirst. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness, and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof, and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God, or whether I speak of myself. He that speaketh of himself seeketh his own glory, but he that seeketh his glory that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. For judgment I am come into this world, that they which see not might see, and they which see might be made blind. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and robber. But he that entereth in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out. And when he putteth forth his own sheep, he goeth before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out and find pasture. The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they may have life, and that they might have it more abundantly. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for his sheep. He that loveth his life shall lose it, and he that hateth his life in this world shall keep it unto life eternal. Yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while ye have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth. He that believeth on me believeth not on me, but on him that sent me. And he that seeth me seeth him that sent me. I am come a light into the world, that whosoever believeth on me should not abide in darkness. And if any man hear my words and believeth not, I judge him not, for I came not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that rejecteth me and receiveth not my words hath one that judgeth him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken of myself, but the Father which sent me. He gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. Now I tell you before it come, that when it is come to pass, ye may believe that I am he. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that receiveth whomever I send receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. Believest thou not that I am in the Father, and the Father in me? The words that I speak unto you, I speak not of myself, but the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. And I will pray the Father, and he shall give you another Comforter, that he may abide with you forever, even the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it seeth him not, neither knoweth him, but ye know him, for he dwelleth with you, and shall be in you. I will not leave you comfortless, I will come to you. If a man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him, and make our abode with him. He that loveth me keepeth not my sayings, and the word which ye hear is not mine, but the Father's which sent me. But the Comforter, which is the Holy Ghost, whom the Father will send in my name, he shall teach you all things, and bring all things to your remembrance, whatsoever I have said unto you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, except it abide in the vine. No more can ye, except ye abide in me. If ye abide in me, and my words abide in you, ye shall ask what ye will, and it shall be done unto you. But when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me, and ye also shall bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning. And when he is come, he will reprove the world of sin, and of righteousness, and of judgment. Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear, that shall he speak. And he will show you things to come. He shall glorify me, for he shall receive of mine, and shall show it unto you. All things that the Father hath are mine. Therefore said I, that he shall take of mine, and shall show it unto you. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. My kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. Thou sayest that I am a king. To this end I was born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth heareth my voice. And they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass? And he said, Take heed that ye be not deceived. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ. And the time draweth near, go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. For these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then he said unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in divers places. And famines and pestilences and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before all these, they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. Settle it therefore in your hearts, not to meditate before what ye shall answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And ye shall be betrayed both by parents, and brethren, and kinsfolks, and friends, and some of you shall they cause to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake. But there shall not an hair of your head perish. In your patience possess ye your souls. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck, in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captives into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud, with power and great glory. And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh.
Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. That's a quote, people. Unthinking respect for authority is the greatest enemy of truth. And it was by a German-born theoretical physicist that many of you may have heard of. His name? Albert Einstein. Hello and welcome to the latest edition of Paul on the Plane Live, where each week here on Truth Frequency Radio, my guests and I explore the current and evolving flat earth theories that continuously are getting us closer and closer to understanding the true nature of the realm that we call Earth. Thanks to the truth-seeking communities who test, observe, and publish their findings for the world to consider. This is Paul on the Plane Live, episode number 55, and it is Tuesday, the 21st of May, 2019. Thank you all so much for joining me, whether you're listening on Truth Frequency Radio or over on iHeartRadio. This show has been pre-recorded, as I'm unable to do the show live tonight because of some traveling that I'm doing. And those of you who listen to the podcast that Mitchell from Australia and I, that we record every week, which is called Dome Life, you know what's going on there. We've been talking about it. So if you haven't checked out the podcast yet, please do so. You can go to domelifepodcast.com, or it's right on my website as well, potp.net. Regardless, I've got an awesome show planned for everyone here on another subject, and on another subject that I would like to know a lot more about, which is why I have on the line with me my guest, Mr. Joe Hill. And Joe, how this all got started is it was a show or two ago, probably 2 or 3 shows ago now. I saw you in chat over on YouTube when I was simulcasting this, and the subject was the ISS, the International Space Station, and you were making some comments around, from a biblical perspective, when the Bible's talking about the beast and things like that, you have been kind of putting the puzzle pieces together here, I guess, and you kind of piqued my interest about how the ISS ties into that, and that's what I wanted to talk about today. So first of all, Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for talking, and this is an interesting subject because of the times we live in, I believe.
Yeah, no question at all. No question at all. So, yeah, so you kind of were making some comments there, and I hadn't heard about that yet, or that perspective yet. So you, like I said, really piqued my interest. I'm very curious, and I want to get your perspective on this, and I really appreciate you're willing to take some time out and kind of walk me through that and sharing that with the listeners here of the show. So where would you like to begin? I mean, the one thing, again, maybe we just start right at the top, and that is, when the Bible talks about the beast, you've kind of, like I said, maybe connected the dots here, and the Bible potentially is talking about the ISS, or
yeah.
Where are we coming from here?
Well, it's in a nutshell, John, that wrote the book of Revelation, in chapter 17. I mean, this is a somewhat common knowledge, I think. He goes, an angel takes him and shows him the judgment of Babylon the Great, or Mystery Babylon. And so it's always been kind of a mystery. But in the last few years, and I got to say that it all kind of started when I started basically hearing people talking about flat Earth and started learning about that. And it's become a truth to me that's beyond obvious, but that's just me. And as that happened, I also noticed some other things, and I was spending a lot of time in the book of Revelation, and I noticed a lot of things in there that seem to have manifest in our world in a way that other people didn't seem to be noticing. And even when I pointed out, a lot of times they don't seem to be able to see it. But this whole weird thing with the Mystery Babylon didn't really make any sense to me, or too much sense to me, until I read the Book of Enoch and started understanding some of that. And that's kind of where those two together, John and Enoch, seem to have gone to the same place. And when they each went there, they each saw the same things. But when John went there at the end, he saw an extra thing that wasn't there when Enoch went. And so,
I see.
And that's where we end up talking about the space station, because it was wandering stars that Enoch saw 7 of. And John, in Revelation 17, verse 3, this angel takes him away to show him this judgment. And he takes him away in the spirit to the wilderness. And I remember Enoch was talking about this waste and horrible place with no water and no birds that was a prison for evil spirits. And so that made it, I recognize that because of Revelation, Babylon the Great in Revelation 18 verse 2 is, it says that it became a habitation of devils and a hold for evil spirits, like a cage. And so to me, I said, okay, so there's a prison somewhere in a wilderness, and John was taken away in the spirit. So probably not, maybe physical and material like we're thinking. So Enoch 18 is where Enoch is taken there. And I can read a couple of verses out of there if you don't mind.
Yeah, by all means. So real quickly though, before I wanted to get to that, get that ready, because I think quoting right out of the book is definitely called for. And I probably should have done this at the start of the show to give you a chance. So you've got a YouTube channel, and you've been doing a lot of great stuff. And we were just talking about it a little bit before we started recording here about all the kind of the graphics work and green screen and all this stuff. So for those people out there that haven't checked out your channel, let them know where they can find you. And then also maybe you can talk a little bit about just briefly how you woke up to this reality that we don't live on a flying ball, or a spinning, orbiting, wobbling space pear.
Baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
The spaceball thing, wow. That came to me, and I just have to be clear about this. It came to me by the Spirit of Truth, and I didn't know that as it was happening, but this truth is not one that came from me, and it didn't come from me buying a P900 and pointing it across Lake Mille Lacs either. Oh, speaking of, I forgot the first part. EFTUPWORLD. Effed Up World.
That's right. Effed Up World.
That's my YouTube channel.
And I'll make sure we put the link to that in the show notes here, so everybody can see that. But your YouTube channel is Effed Up World. EFTUPWORLD. That's one word.
Yep, and that's I've had that channel for a long time, even before I realized that we've all been living under Satan's dominion. But that's the thing that's important about Flat Earth, I think, is that if a person can come to the realization that, and this would be speaking more to a person that believes in Flat Earth, if they've come to this realization and they don't really understand why is this truth now, well, it's because we're at the end. And God declared this truth at the beginning when he spoke it into existence. And now at the end, Jesus said he was going to declare it again. He was going to declare, or he was going to send his sons, or call his sons and daughters to declare former things. And I believe that that's what Flat Earth is about. It's the last chance for people to get eyes to see. And I think it just happens by believing in it. When you believe the truth, I think God sends his Spirit and shows you all of it. But
right on.
How I came about it, as I can't really explain it to be like a YouTube video or something like that. But I mean, that was the general start of it. Was I heard it was, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, Stefan Molyneux maybe. He's got a YouTube channel and pretty popular guy, I think. And he had a flat earther asking him some questions. They were kind of going, just having a conversation on his show, and I was listening to that while I was working. And my dad was actually in the shop with me, and my dad was listening to it, and that's how I heard it. I wasn't looking for anything. It was just on in the shop when I was there, and I noticed right then and there. I noticed there was this like a spiritual battle happening, because I was saying to myself, "Okay, this sounds so dumb," but every single thing that this guy has said, the things he's brought up, they are actually true. So I said to myself, but I don't want to say that they're true. There's something in me saying I don't want to say that they're true. And I was watching my dad laughing and mocking at everything that was true that the guy was saying. And to me, I could see a spiritual battle happening. And right then, I think that's when I really started to understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think from a secular standpoint, I think we're seeing that, to kind of relate it to a spiritual standpoint like you have. From a secular standpoint, I think we're seeing it in a lot of other people as well, where what's getting their attention is not so much the topic, but the mainstream's reaction to it and the censorship.
Yes.
And
yeah,
they're going,
AMTV did a video on Flat Earth, and he said, I don't even believe it, or I haven't even looked into it, but it's just the fact that they're censoring it makes me want to look into it.
Exactly. Yeah. So when that suppression is coming, or you sense that conflict, even if you don't know anything about it, you're just like, well, if there's so much attention about it, good and bad, or for and against or whatever, that means there might be something there for me. And that in and of itself, I think, is getting people to look a little bit deeper into it, and then they can start looking at whether the science or the spiritual aspect or whatever, like you. But that sounds like it was something along those lines. Again, from a spiritual perspective for you personally, was like, there's something going on here, and that led you to take the next step, and not just scoff and move on and forget about it and just dismiss it. It led you into the truth.
Exactly, and it's all about honesty to me. I just think as time goes on here, it's going to be for the people who are debating and fighting against it, and the people that, for everybody, it's going to become so clearly obvious that there's this fake thing that we can believe in, but like that's where we've left that. Like I guess what I'm saying is, if you ask someone, this is like the clearest question, if you ask someone if the ground beneath their feet is rotating on its axis, and point at the ground, say, is this ground that you're standing on, is that rotating on its axis that you can tell? Is there any reason for you to believe that it's rotating on its axis? The clear answer is no, it's not rotating on its axis. It doesn't move at all. But there's something inside of the intellectual people in our world that really, they don't want to answer it that way. They have to say, relative to what? And start to use their imagination and pretend that they live in the stars and look down on the earth and stuff like that.
Yeah. The programming.
That's just me.
Just kicks in. So anyway, so about when was this? About how long ago did this, this kind of spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, when did this happen?
I can give you a really close date. December 21st, 2015.
That's pretty exact.
And that's not necessarily the day I believed Earth was flat. That was the day that I knew that we were living out the book of Revelation.
Okay,
and that,
got it.
We can get into that a little bit. So,
and that led you into, then like you said, the Spirit leads you into all truth, right?
Yes, exactly.
Says. The all truth. It doesn't just give you a little piece and that sort of thing. No, once you open up your mind and open your heart, the Spirit leads you into all truth, the good book says. So,
and it says all. It
says all.
And then the next two verses, that was John 16:13 that you're talking about. And it says, howbeit when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the next two verses are both of the verses are about what that truth is. And what it is it says he will show, like Jesus says, he will show you all the things that are mine, and the Father gave all the things to Jesus, and I'm not trying to understand that aspect of it, but he's going to show us all the things that he knows. And so having your eyes open to the truth is not just a small thing. It is I believe that for us, for the time we're living in, because this truth has been revealed in this world, I believe that it is something possibly, leading to eternal life. So that's a whole bit different topic, but I think it is significant.
It is. There's so many different ways, this conversation, there's so many different angles we could go, but I appreciate that, but I derailed your whole line of thinking. I apologize, but I'm going to try and get you back on track here. So you were talking about John's in the book of Revelation, John's in the spirit, being taken to this place, this wilderness, this prison, and you were correlating that with the book of Enoch, and that's kind of where we left off. And so you had a couple of verses in Enoch that you were going to read to kind of set this up. So if we can get back on track, my apologies. Should have done that at the beginning of the show, just kind of set the context. But now we kind of know a little bit more about you and where you are at right now, I guess, and how this all came about. I think it's going to provide some more context. So anyway, please proceed there, sir. I apologize
so
again.
You're going to love this, because this is something that this isn't an idea that I have. I just want to preface this with that. This isn't an idea that I have or had or came up with. This is an idea that I was shocked to read about. Okay? So what I'm going to read here and point out is it's the thing that Enoch wrote thousands of years ago, and the thing that John wrote almost 2,000 years ago. These things have nothing to do with me or Paul or anything. These are right in there. It's just pointing them out. Okay, so that was my little preface thing. Okay, so this is chapter 18 of the book of Enoch, the first book of Enoch, and I'm just going to read verses 9 through 16. So just take a second, but listen carefully to this place where Enoch is and everything that he learns here. Verse 9, and I saw a flaming fire, and beyond these mountains is a region, the end of the great earth, where the heavens were completed. And I saw a deep abyss with columns of heavenly fire, and among them I saw columns of fire fall, which were beyond measure, alike toward the height and toward the depth. And beyond that abyss, I saw a place which had no firmament of heaven above, and no firmly founded earth beneath it. There was no water upon it, and no birds, but it was it was a waste and horrible place. Now this is important right here. I saw there 7 stars, like great burning mountains. And to me, when I inquired regarding them, the angel said, "This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the host of heaven. And the stars which roll over the fire are they which have transgressed the commandment of the Lord in the beginning of their rising, because they did not come forth at their appointed times. And he was wroth with them and bound them till the time when their guilt should be consummated, even for 10,000 years." So basically what we learn there is this place where these 7 stars that were wandering, and that was a prison. And so when I put that to the real life sky that we live under, we have all the stars. I call them the stars of God now. They have a polar center, and they do a circle around Polaris every 24 hours, and that's just a continual thing that they do, and that goes from Polaris all the way out to the farthest in the southern hemisphere, as far as I can tell. When you're in the southern hemisphere and you're looking towards what they call the Southern Cross or whatever, when you're looking that direction, you're looking the opposite direction of the North Pole. So don't expect to see the rotation in the same direction. You're going to see the opposite. And to me, that just is plain and simple. But so these stars, these 7 stars, are these ones that they have their own orbit, and they don't care about the polar north, and they go and do their own thing. And those are the planets. Well, so I can kind of say, okay, yeah, I mean, that's what we do see in the sky. We do see these planets, and apparently they're rolling over a fire, and the deep abyss, they were beyond this deep abyss. So that I'm just going to take that for what it is. I mean, I believe there's no firmly founded earth beneath it, no water upon it, no birds. I believe this is talking about like space or what NASA would maybe consider space or something. But here's where it gets a little bit interesting. The next chapter.
A little bit interesting. Like
yeah,
the stuff you just did wasn't.
Well, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time.
It builds, and
it is building. Yeah.
All these things that I hadn't been aware of before added to everything that I'm learning now, and it becomes this crazy thing. So they're standing in this place, and he sees this prison, and it's the prison for the stars and the host of heaven. That was one thing I wanted to point out. Enoch, called them mountains burning with fire.
Yeah. So
that's very important because that's going to come in Revelation. That's how we're going to know that John that this is the same prison. But okay, and Uriel said to me, this is chapter 19, verse 1. And Uriel said to me, here shall stand the angels who have connected themselves with women, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind and shall lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. Jupiter, Mercury, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Here shall they stand till the day of the great judgment, in which they shall be judged, and they are made an end of. Now, I got to do a brief history lesson on Enoch, because a lot of people listening would probably say, well, that's not true, because the angels that connected themselves with women, the ones that left their first estate in Jude verses 6 and 13, that are reserved under chains in the blackness of darkness. Well, that's celestial, I'm guessing, but what this is saying is that place, that prison, that is the bottomless pit. It's right above the abyss, or I don't know exactly the location of it, but he said beyond that abyss is where he saw those 7 stars. So interesting. And then if anybody wants to kind of verify all this again, Enoch and Uriel talk about exactly this whole thing again right in chapter 21. They cover all of it again, the mountains and everything. So Enoch saw, the basic thing I wanted to point out is Enoch went there and he saw these 7 mountains. And it was a prison for the stars that didn't come out at their proper times, and the other ones that connected themselves with women. Well, they had been buried in the earth for 70 generations, and then they were led off to this abyss of fire. So I don't know when.
That topic, being with women, reminds me of the Nephilim. And
yes,
how does it relate to that in your view?
Well, earlier on in Enoch, in chapter 10, Enoch goes, basically, the fallen angels were going to be punished or whatever, and they were the Lord was going to send the flood, and so this information got given to Noah, so that he could prepare the boat and everything, get it all, everything ready, because God was going to cleanse the earth. And I think that was these Nephilim, these offspring from the angels that came down and took human wives, their offspring. We find out in Enoch chapter 15, I believe, that Enoch is called up to the throne because I think he actually misspoke to the watchers, and the Lord was not in a bad way. I think he just misspoke, and the Lord straightened him out. He said, Enoch, the spirits that were born on the earth shall stay on the earth. and they'll roam without bodies, like they're evil spirits on the earth. And then he said, but the spirits of heaven, the ones that came down from heaven, their dwelling is in heaven. So that they're going to dwell in heaven. But the interesting thing to me is that doesn't mean that they're free in heaven. They're imprisoned in heaven. They're locked up. So that's my take on that prison. But
got it.
So
well, let's pause there.
Okay.
Let's just pause for a second. Because we're coming up on commercial break, so we're going to need to pause anyway. But I just want to remind people we're talking with Joe Hill about. I'm trying to figure out how do we encompass all this.
I don't even know. We're talking about you could say Enoch and Revelation.
Enoch and Revelation and how they tie together and the clues, by understanding each of the stories and what God showed these prophets, what can we draw from those? So please don't go anywhere. Hope you're enjoying the show so far tonight. This is Paul on the Plane live on Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception. We have a lot more with Joe, and we'll get into then how this ties with Revelation when we get back on the other side of the break. So please don't go anywhere. Thanks again for listening. And welcome back to Paul on the Plane Live here on Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception. The topic tonight is, Enoch, Revelation, prophecy. I'm going to tie this into the 7 wandering stars or stars of God and even the International Space Station. So a lot more to come here. Thanks for sticking around. Joe Hill is my guest tonight. YouTube channel is Effed Up World, EFTUP World, all one word, if you'd like to check out his work. Joe, let's just jump right back into it. So the first segment, we kind of set things up. You're kind of sharing with what Enoch saw there in chapter 18, and then some of the subsequent verses about this wilderness, this barren wasteland is what it sounds like, the way it was described, a prison, essentially, for these, I guess, these spirits.
The heavenly, the spirits of heaven, the angels that came down, I think that was in Genesis 6. Is that? Yeah, Genesis 6, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it might be 11. I can't remember.
Early on, anyway.
Yeah, and
Genesis. But let's then tie this in, because now it sounds like, where we're going to go from here, if you listen to the first segment here and understanding what Enoch was shown, then this ties, it sounds like really nicely into then what John was shown in Revelation.
Yes, and that's what really is mind-blowing to me, is because I was really familiar with this stuff in Revelation, and that actually came, that date, December 21st, 2015, was the first time that SpaceX successfully landed a rocket after lifting Dragon up into orbit. That caught my attention because of Revelation 13, but we might get into that after if we have time. But so that's where I kind of was studying Revelation, and I was like, I'm seeing this stuff in the world. But in Revelation 17, I'll just point out a few verses. So in verse 3, John says, so he's talking about this angel that came over to him. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The scarlet-colored beast, scarlet is like a red with a tinge of orange. Now, if you've ever looked at the space station pictures of it or anything, look at the solar arrays, they are scarlet-colored, but that doesn't prove anything or anything like that, like we're going to learn in a minute here. So he gets a description of this beast and the woman that was riding the beast and all of this, and we're going to skip down a little bit until we get to verse 8. Well, actually, we'll just start in verse 9, because this is kind of like, I'll explain it as we go through it, I guess. And here's the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. So that
correlates with the mountains of fire.
Or it could. We don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really know. It just says that the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Well, that beast that John saw the woman sitting on, it had 7 heads and 10 horns. So it's saying that those 7 heads are 7 mountains. So, okay, that's fine. But then in verse 11, it said, because it's talking about this beast that Babylon is riding on, and that beast, it talks about that in verse 11. It says, and the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th, and is of the 7, and goeth into perdition. And that's talking about the beast that came up from the bottomless pit.
Is the 8th?
It's the 8th mountain.
Wow.
So if we go back to Enoch just to get a refresher, Enoch went there and he saw 7 stars of heaven that were bound there because they transgressed the commandment of the Lord. And so they're already being punished because he called them mountains burning with fire because they were rolling over this abyss of fire. Like they were being held there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to me, I don't really understand how a planet or a star like that correlates with the fallen angels that came down. I don't really understand all that. But this right here is just amazing to me. And then it continues on. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings. Well, the horns that he saw, this gets really complicated, but it is something that people can look into on their own, and they can find these things out. Dragon, SpaceX Dragon, is the cargo capsule. It's the space vehicle that resupplies and brings cargo to and from the ISS. Okay?
That's right.
So that's how this is going to tie into this, because in Revelation 13, the beast that came up from the sea, the first one that he saw in Revelation 13, that one, the dragon gave that beast his power and his seat and great authority. So I said to myself, well, let's just take this really, really simply and really, really literally and say, what if John actually knew the name of the SpaceX Dragon, let's say, and what if he said, because this is a vision of what would happen at the end. So I got to remind everyone of that. This is what must come to pass. So there is a dragon that's giving what we could call the 8th mountain or the 8th wandering star, because it's on a schedule, and you can go, you can get an app on your phone to see when you can see the ISS. You go out and you can look at this little star flying over your head with precision timing. What I'm saying is, this is not a space station. This is a star. This is a fallen angel. Now, then we go, well, what about all the astronauts and all of the video and the footage and all of that? And I say, well, when God said he's going to send strong in 2 Thessalonians 2,
yes.
When he says God will send strong delusion, what do you think the word strong means?
To God, strong. If God is calling something strong,
yes,
it's going to be pretty immense.
Yeah, so that's where I take that, and that's why I believe flat Earth is such an important topic, because I'm actually going to open that 2 Thessalonians, because I'm doing it on my computer and on my Bible sitting right here too. But it's an important thing, because it does say that those who don't believe the truth, that they're taking part in unrighteousness, and they're going to be damned. So to me, it's not a topic to joke around about, or a lot of people say that this is something that I'm theorizing, and I don't see it that way. But I'm not I'm not saying that I'm right or that anything, because this really has nothing to do with me. It's something that I'm pointing out that's already written in the Word of God. So,
yeah.
It says here in verse 11 and 12 of 2 Thessalonians 2, and for this cause God shall send them strong delusion that they should believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believed not the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Now, I'm not talking about before this truth was revealed, because I believe in about 2015 that supernaturally the world was the Holy Spirit came down and gave us the truth. And that's my belief there. But so I think it's a very crucial truth for people to look into. So, yeah, I mean, we could go over the landing rockets if you want to, and how that ties into this, which is interesting. And I could do it kind of briefly because
let's keep going. Yeah, okay. Let's definitely keep going. We got, we're about halfway through the second segment here, so I think we've got time.
And I gotta say too, maybe I can send you a note or something that you could maybe put in the description with all these references possibly too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I actually, more importantly than the landing rockets, I just had something come over me and tell me that we should talk about one specific thing really quick. What is Satan or Lucifer or the devil? What is his plans throughout this world all the way till the end of days? What's his plan at the end of the days? It says in Revelation 12 that he deceived the whole world. And in Isaiah, this is so important. Isaiah 14, I'm just going to grab my Bible. I want to read 3 verses.
Yeah, if you think about that, how immense the world is, how many people there are, at least what we think we know, how many people there are, how big of a deception and how strong of a deception it would have to be able to fool essentially the whole world.
Exactly. I mean, to put that to a realistic terms to think about is really hard. It really is.
Yeah.
Because how could we all be living a life with careers and with all these things in a lie and not know it? Well, that's how our opposition is much more powerful than we previously thought, I think.
And if we put ourselves in Satan's shoes, so to speak, what is the grandest of lies?
Yep.
What would that be? And I think some people say, well, maybe it's that to hide God, that God doesn't exist. But I think there's even a bigger one, and we've talked about in the show here before, and that's that the biggest lie of all potentially is that Satan, he doesn't exist.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's both of those combined. But
yeah.
So how does Satan going to accomplish that? Let me read Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 through 14. It tells us how he's going to accomplish that. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So I don't care if someone wants to say, oh, that's just symbolic and whatever. That's fine. They can say that. They can believe that, whatever. But I just read that I'll just kind of read them again. It says, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So what he's saying there is NASA's mission. If you go to nasa.gov, and what's their mission? It's to explore the far reaches of outer space.
It's to ascend into the heavens and to...
That's exactly what they do.
And to set up, exalt their throne. What if you want to use
ISS.
that? Yeah. You want to basically dominate or populate or control above the heavens, above the clouds.
Yeah. And when we read in Isaiah chapter 66, 6 verse 1, thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where's the house, or where's the house ye build for me? Where's my place of rest? I mean, that to me, the heaven is God's throne. The sky, that Jesus is going to come with the clouds of heaven. And Jesus ascended into the clouds of heaven. What I'm getting at is this is very literal and physical in a way, not that we're maybe supposed to understand, you know, the connection between the heavenly world and our physical material world, but there's something going on there that's really, I think that the Holy Spirit's trying to teach us about that connection. That's, you know, the differences between the two, because obviously when we look up at the moon, it looks like a rock or something, but when we read in the Bible, it's so much more than a rock. It's not necessarily even a place. Somebody could actually say, well, you know, this is almost like what Mark Sargent says. It's brilliant. It's a planetarium. It's like a screen on the ceiling with lights.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when they want to say, well, we can tangibly measure it now because we got spaceships. Well, that's a belief, because you don't go on the spaceship. There's a government that or whatever that's sending a spaceship up in there giving you a report. So you can believe that if you want. Fine.
That's one of the things I try to do at the absolute bare minimum. If I'm talking to kind of somebody new, is you know, we're kind of getting into it, and not that it's becoming heated or or confrontational, but I just want them to understand that what they think is true is this is their belief system, that they don't have the ability to verify it independently or themselves. At the end of the day, what they think is reality when it comes to this subject, you know, I'm talking about, you know, moon landings, NASA, space, you know, Mars, and all the stuff that we get, you know, shoved down our throats in the mainstream from a very early age, is that is part of their belief system.
Yep.
They're practicing faith in.
Yeah.
They're practicing faith in this case, you know, a government agency that is telling that you have faith that they're telling you the truth. That's it. You have no choice but to either accept it or not accept it. You only have those two choices. There's no way you can go and say, I'm going to believe it until, you know, or not going to believe it until I can prove it. You can't. So you either have to take it on faith or come up with something else.
Yeah. A friend of ours, Authentic Intent YouTube channel.
Josh.
Joshua
Swift.
He says it in a brilliant way. He says, when he's you know, bringing this up to people, he says, I've seen it on a lot of his later videos. He says to the people that are kind of, you know, opposing him, he says, well, you believe that a man walked on the moon, and I might believe that a man walked on water and lived a perfect life. But these are both beliefs that we have. And like he puts it out.
Good point.
Really
That's a great way to
there.
put it.
He says both of us are having a belief, even though we might believe the opposite thing, but it's still a belief.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. All I'm saying is you and I are practicing faith. We have a belief system that we have built, or, you know, how we define ourselves, how we operate our lives. It's built on a belief system.
Yes. We were born into it.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, I probably kind of derailed you there, but point well taken.
Yeah. So, I mean, my main thing there was that literally NASA's, you know, their mission that they would have like on their business card, it is what Satan has written in his heart. So it's the exact same thing, to ascend into heaven and explore the far reaches of the universe or whatever.
Yeah, so, while you're talking, I'm going to NASA.gov. I want to see exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never looked. It'd be interesting to see what they.
Yeah, I'm going to About NASA. Let's just see what it says.
So there is another aspect that I'll bring up quick, is these landing rockets, and how Elon Musk is obsessed with having these reusable rockets and successful, like they've been doing this. I'll just say this, that in the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and 13, the dragon is Satan. So what I'm trying to say is that when the dragon, in Revelation 12, it's the dragon, he's waiting to devour, the woman's child, and it's if I could stress for people to just try to take some of these things literally, when it says dragon is Satan, remember that our struggle is not against flesh and blood. It's against evil spirits, and they work in a different way than like physical material. They work through inspiration, and some of these technologies, these rockets and these things, this is like wizardry. This is like,
that's right.
This is like the God of forces, a different kind of, it's not technology. I mean, it is, but it's not.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that really got to me when I was kind of starting this journey of discovery, was understanding how, speaking of NASA, how it's all based in the occult. It's, it's wizards. Yeah. These are people that are playing with these forces, or, involved with these very dark forces. And that's what the basis was for, this organization being founded.
JPL and
So I went over the NASA. It's nasa.gov/career/our mission and values. So I'll just read this real quick. This is what it says on the website. The vision is from NASA, we reach for new heights and reveal the unknown for the benefit of humankind. And the mission, it says, drive advances in science, technology, aeronautics, and space exploration to enhance knowledge, education, innovation, economic vitality, and stewardship of Earth. I mean, it sounds so good, but when we kind of tie it into above the clouds, exalting your throne in the heavens.
Yep.
I could see some correlation there.
There's even named in the book of Revelation. It's named who that spirit of exploration is. It's Apollo, or Apollyon in Revelation.
There you go.
And look at what NASA has, the Apollo missions, and Elon Musk says that SpaceX was formed to continue the dream of Apollo.
Yeah.
And not only that, like they're going to go to the moon now, they say, by 2024. You know what they're naming that mission? Artemis. That's Apollo's sister.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Why do they name these things Apollo? Why do they name these things Osiris Rex and Bennu and all these names of gods, false gods?
Yeah. Go look at all the stuff that's been named. Whether it's
all based
craters on the moon to the planets and all this stuff. I mean, it's all in
deep wizardry.
Deep wizardry within the occult. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's in our society. It doesn't seem to be deep or occult, but it surely is. It always has been. In that way, but we've been born into a society that cheers that on, and we didn't. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody's bad because they do this. Everybody's deceived into
deception.
Doing it. That's what I believe.
And that's what the occult is. It's secret. It's what goes on behind closed doors. It's meant to be the hidden. It's meant to be, behind the veil, so to speak.
So hidden.
Exactly. Well, we've got about 3.5 minutes left here in the first hour here at Paul on the Plane Live on Truth Frequency Radio. Let's kind of summarize, wrap things up here, because you've pointed out some very interesting things. So, if somebody that's hearing this today and is, got now a bug in their ear to go and research this more and see what you've uncovered here and kind of tying Enoch and Revelation, what would be the logical next steps for somebody?
Well, I would say, the book of Daniel, chapters 7 and 8, have a lot of information in them. And like Daniel chapter 7, there's a story going on there that I believe we're living out. Daniel sees these 4 beasts, and Daniel gets kind of an interpretation of what he sees, and that someone in his vision tells him that these 4 great beasts that he just saw and described, that they were 4 kings that shall arise out of the earth. This is talking about at the end of days. And so there's 4 great beasts that are going to rise up out of the earth. And the first one, it had its wings clipped or plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth. The second one was told to arise. The third one had dominion of the host of heaven. And these are, to me, he was describing just the same things what a rocket would, or, you could describe a rocket. Stamping the residue with the feet of it, breaking in pieces. And then in Daniel chapter 8, verses 10, he finishes it off with a verse that even guys like Kent Hovind don't know what to do with. That this he-goat that he sees waxes great. That means like he grows great, even to the host of heaven, and he casts the stars down. So, like a guy like Kent Hovind, I just did a video. I love that guy, but his cosmology cuts him off at that and leaves him wondering.
Yeah.
And that's where Flat Earth makes me understand the Bible more than I did before, because it's all written on a certain world,
Yeah, for sure. God bless Kent Hovind, because he was huge in my personal awakening.
Me too, and still is.
Grew up in the public school system and had evolution shoved down my throat, and kind of came out of that really doubting the Bible and God and the creation story. And Kent Hovind really brought me back to.
He's a soldier.
He's
a soldier. And you know what?
Just got to help him get his cosmology.
Yeah, right? Well, and that's another thing that I've learned too, is that I've learned to accept when people aren't willing to see that. I think that Kent will just, he'll end up in the same place where everybody else that loves God, and he's going a different way is all.
Yeah.
I just think that we're given a little bit of a heads up. We're bearing witness to a truth that we couldn't see before, and we're screaming it out to the world, and they're not all going to accept it as truth. But I believe also written in the book of Revelation is that people that don't accept it, they're going to have a chance to accept it kind of more in a scary way, and many of them will. A whole big innumerable multitude of people will accept this truth, I believe. So
thanks, Joe. We got out of time. Music's starting here, so any minutes or any second. Thanks again so much. It was awesome. We'll make sure we include the links there for people to check this out more. And Effed Up World on YouTube is your channel, and check it out, guys. Thanks again, Joe. Appreciate it.
Tell it's real because it looks so fake, honestly.
Okay, here's my story of the last few years of my life, how there's been a major change in my heart, in my spirit, and in my knowledge, and in my understanding. And it's something that is not inspired by me. It took me a little while to realize that. But a lot of people are having this happen in their life. It's not something that I have any control over. It's more supernatural. It's these right here, these 2 eyeballs. They can see things that for 38 years they could not see. And so what I've been doing the last 3 years is becoming accustomed to truth and learning to take myself and my opinions out of the classroom, I'll call it. When I'm learning something, I get rid of my biases, because all they do is deceive. They deceive me. My biases deceive me. And I have no problem admitting that. I know that. I don't know everything. I'm a human being that can learn. When something is taught or something is showed to me, I can learn. I am not set in my ways, and I don't think that I know everything. I'm willing to learn things that I didn't know, So let's go back about 40 years to when I was born. I had a normal childhood, just like probably the average kid. 2 brothers, one younger, one older, both dumber. I'm just kidding. I say that all the time. Good brothers, good parents. They brought us up in church, and with a good faith, I guess, is what I'd call it. A misunderstood faith, but I didn't know that until a few years ago. Until I started truly investigating the Word of God on my own in my quiet closet, in secret. And that's when I started learning these things. There are two things I remember specifically about when I realized that something was wrong. One was I was working at a job. Sorry, I'm a carpenter and I swing a hammer. I build stuff and I work outside in the sun and the heat. And I was out there a few years ago working on a house up north, and the spirit of truth came over me that day. It's hard to explain really what happened inside of me that day, but it was a supernatural thing. I didn't know it at the time. I just got a strange feeling that day, and my attention was taken away from work. And I have a trailer that I work out of. It's like a car hauler. It's an enclosed. It's like 25 feet long. And I have even like a little office in the front of it. So it's a place where I work out of. I'd pull up to the house and I'd do all my work out of the trailer, walk up to the house and build what I'm building. Well, that day I went into the trailer and had my Bible in there too. And something came over me. That's the best way I could put it. Something came over me and said, there's a problem here. I didn't understand at all what was going on at the time, but there were jets flying over. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. It was about 100 degrees. I was hot, and very hot, maybe even hotter. I don't know. It was hot. And in the trailer, it gets to be like 120 degrees. It's even hotter in there. But for some reason, I'm sitting in the trailer, or not sitting. I'm standing at my saw table, and my Bible there. And I was at a job where no one else was out there. Because it was kind of out of the way up north a little bit, so there wasn't like a bunch of traffic construction people there. Because if there was, I wouldn't have been just standing in I would have been working my butt off getting the job done. But whatever brought the situation to where it was, I was standing in the trailer, and it was a realization I had when I started thinking about those jets. They were flying at altitude, and why do they fly at that altitude? Why do they fly higher? Why don't they fly higher or lower? And the gears started turning in my head. Well, obviously because the atmosphere is thick down here and up there, and all this science stuff that we've all learned and have been talking about for 3 years. But that stuff just automatically started coming to me in my mind, and I'm like, there's a problem up there, because if wings have lift, okay, without atmosphere they can't lift, right? Well, I believe the same thing for a rocket. If there's no atmosphere, there's nothing to, if it's a vacuum, which is impossible because we have oxygen, we have an atmosphere here. If there's a vacuum out there, it would get sucked out into the vacuum. Just doesn't make any sense. But these types of things started going through my head. This is I don't even know if I had really heard of Flat Earth at this time yet. Oh, but I definitely did after that. The other time that I remember strongly is in the shop. I was building something, and my dad was listening to Stefan Molyneux, or I don't know if that's how you say his name, but he had a guy on his show that was trying to convince him that Earth was flat. And this subject was like, whoa, what is this? What is this? You know, it was the first time I kind of considered it. And my dad's over there making fun of everything the guy's saying. And I was laughing a little, but it just, the things he was actually saying were true. And I knew that in my heart. Because I said, well, you can't, you know, I wasn't talking out loud. It's just all in my head going on. The guy's, I don't know specifically what he's saying, but saying something like, water's always level. And in my heart I go, that is true. But the words that kept coming to me automatically were, but that just couldn't be. Like 50 times that day that went through my head. But that just couldn't be. We know this. We know that Earth is this way. We know that it curves. We have pictures from space. And so there's like an inner conflict happening in my heart that day at the shop. And I realized that day at the shop that there was real spiritual warfare going on, because I noticed a severe difference in my reaction to this talk radio show or whatever in comparison to my dad's. Like he was like lashing out with jokes of ridicule. And I'm like, but Dad, every single thing that this guy has said is not only a debatable subject to, you know, a valid subject to talk about. Not only that, this guy's being honest and saying these things. Whether or not they're true, it's up for everyone to decide. But for him, he's pointing them out. So if we consider the things that he's pointing out, if it brings up something in our hearts that says no, that's a problem, or agrees with it, or whatever it is, flat Earth is it's a dividing subject. There's no people that, well, there are people that are, you know, neutral or whatever you want to call it, but the first reaction from almost everybody is, you are stupid. But they don't even have a clue about what they believe. Because first, the biggest thing about flat Earth, if you want to debate someone and tell them that the Earth is not flat, you have a problem. And there's plenty of problems. One of them is water. If I fill this cup with water, if I go like this, what does the water do inside the cup? Does the water stay like this, or does it go like this? We all know water. Okay, that's one of the problems. And one of the other problems is, or what was it? I just forgot what it was, but I'll come back to that if I remember. So those were the things that started me thinking, like seriously thinking. Then of course I went on YouTube and got a lot of information from a lot of other people just like me that are experiencing something, and all the different points of view they had, and everything. It really helped me to understand that this was a story that I had read before. Because I remember when I was like 13 years old, 12 years old, that I wasn't like obsessed, but I was interested in Revelation, in these beasts, because I was like, what are these things? They're kind of scary sounding, and like I remember when I was younger, the one thing that really kind of put a little fear in me was when it talked about stamping the residue. I'm thinking like human bodies being crushed and blood. Like I'm thinking all this cartoonish stuff. And I understand it now completely. But at that time I didn't. And I was like, it puts a little bit of fear in you. And then there's this intimidation with Flat Earth that you have to face. Everybody has to face it on their own. And I don't know if you call it facing the truth or what you call it, but it's scary at first. You're like, what kind of thing are we up against? And my whole life, 38 years before that or whatever, I knew Satan existed. I knew that evil existed, but I had no idea of the scope of the challenge that we're up against with this evil. So Flat Earth revealed that too, how evil and wicked this world is, and God's still doing that. He's showing us our wicked hearts and reproving us. But so it wasn't long before I knew, I mean, it was like a few days that I knew this deception was being carried out, and that it was not only being carried out, it was totally successful, like totally. So then I went to Revelation 13 and I said, yep, there we go. It says right there, all the world wondered after the beast and worshiped the beast and the dragon that gave power to the beast. And I'm reading this stuff and I'm like, what if the beast was like a lie, or like a, you know, and I'm just like thinking all these things. And that's probably 2 years ago, or a little over 2 years ago, was when I realized something that changed my life. And this was after I already knew Flat Earth. I knew the Earth was flat. It's God working in us and showing us the truth, showing it to us. I figured this out because being a flat earther, I was aware of what SpaceX was doing and NASA and everything. And I mean, I wasn't studied up on it, but I was well aware of the programs and the things that were going on. And it came to me, I don't know how, but it came to me where I understood that SpaceX had a contract with NASA to resupply and carry cargo to and from the International Space Station, which any flat earther knows in their heart there's deception there, there's a problem there, and we're all trying to define it. We're all trying to point out or to figure out precisely what the deception is. Well, that's why flat earthers all get along, because it's in their heart. It's in their heart. God showed it to them. And that's why you can argue all your globe proofs with a flat earther and you're going to lose. You're going to lose. It doesn't matter what kind of proof you think you have, because the flat earther is just going to say, look at the ground. Does it ever curve? Show me it. It doesn't curve. Show me the water curving. When you circumnavigate the globe, you have to do a front flip. Does your plane ever do a front flip when you circumnavigate the globe? No. These kind of simple truths that are ignored, completely ignored. Okay, a jet flies like this. Here's the wings. It takes off, and it gets up to its altitude, and then it flies. Okay? When you're in the jet and you have your little drink, your 7-Up or whatever they give you, do you ever have to worry about that 7-Up coming out of that cup just because of the angle of the jet? No, because of gravity. Well, you guys are adding a bunch of crap. What is your senses and your perception of that flight, or those flights, whatever, however many planes you have to fly, or that boat ride, or whatever? Does the boat ever go like this, upside down, and then come back around? No. It's the same thing as getting on your bicycle, driving out your driveway, taking a left, driving around the block, and coming up to your driveway from the opposite side. That is exactly what circumnavigating is. And you can prove it to yourself. Go get in a jet. It never does the front flip, okay? It's a fact. And it's your perception. So what you're doing is you're deciding, I'm going to get in a jet, and I'm going into La La Land after that, and I'm going to pretend. I'm going to pretend like a 2-year-old. I'm going to pretend that the jet's doing all these things that it's not doing. And I'm doing barrel rolls, and I'm doing all this stuff, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and it's all made up. You're just adding to your reality. If you experience your reality for what it is, you're going to experience exactly what I'm experiencing. Flat Earth. So, anyway, the beasts in Revelation became something that, after I realized SpaceX named their capsule Dragon, it flagged me on to what I knew from the book of Revelation. I'm like, that's very coincidental that we have literally a rocket carrying a dragon coming up out of the earth, and then the rocket comes back down and makes fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. This is directly out of the book of Revelation. So, of course, people think that the beast is the Roman Catholic Church, or it's the Vatican, or the Jesuits, or whatever. All these stupid things that people are saying. Let me tell you what. In Ephesians 6, it says that our struggle is not against flesh and blood. It's not against your fellow man is not your enemy. I'm saying in the scope of our lives, our challenge that we have, the test that we all are trying to pass. It's not against each other. It's not against Rockefeller, okay? Rockefeller or who all these people are just, they're in the position to be evil. They have money, so they're going to use their money for Satan's agenda. Okay, so Satan's controlling these elite people. So yes, they're evil, and yes, they work for Satan's evil cause. But they still aren't what we need to focus on in order to not fall short. In Revelation, there is a woman that rides on the beast called Babylon. And her merchandise is the souls of men. That's one of the things of her merchandise. And by her sorceries were all nations deceived. That's talking about right now. So I started realizing that Revelation is playing out. And it was over a year ago that I made a video called The Revelation of Jesus Christ in 2017. Go look it up. It's about a half-hour, 40-minute video where I basically went through the book of Revelation lightly, and at the time I thought it was pretty in-depth, but knowledge has increased. Which brings me to Daniel. Daniel had a vision of the time of the end, and he was showed what would exist at the time of the end. And I understand that Daniel's vision, and I understand John's vision in Revelation, not because of me, but because of the Spirit of truth guiding me to this understanding. And this has all happened since Flat Earth. The visions in the Bible, in Daniel 7 and 8 and Revelation 13, well, the whole book of Revelation, they mean a different thing if you think you live on a globe. You'll never understand what these books are talking about if you think you live on a globe. So when Daniel was told, when Daniel was like scared of these beasts, and Gabriel says, "Hey, chill out. This is not for a long time. This is not now. You don't have to worry about this." But then he says, "But at the end, you're going to have to come back and stand in your lot, Daniel." So that struck me too. I was like, man, in Revelation, there's these two witnesses that are going to prophesy at the end. Like John and Daniel, I think, have been prophesying to me through the Spirit of truth. Like I'm understanding what these guys are saying. Like they're almost like they're sitting over my shoulder going, no, what that was this. That was it. Like they're telling me, I mean, not audibly, they're showing me spiritually what these visions mean and why they were given. And it's very important why they were given. They were given just for us, just for this generation, just for this last generation, for us to, and we didn't know this. I'm learning this right now. I mean, I'm just going with the flow. We're here and are not of this world, but we were sent to this world as a covenant, just like God manifests himself here as a covenant. He's doing it again with his children. And so we're manifest here as a covenant for a light of the Gentiles, because God loves his creation. He loves the people that he made, even though they're wicked in their hearts. For the last 3 years, God's been showing me how wicked my heart is. It's not something that our society thinks is wicked. It's just our society's wicked. So there's lies. There's lies. And Flat Earth, for me, is the revelation of Jesus Christ. I was going to tell you a coronavirus joke, but I'm 99.9% sure you're not going to get it. Okay, so I got to tell you a story. Went to the store. The gal behind the counter, this was the gas station, she was wearing a mask. And so I asked her, I said, do you plan on wearing that the rest of your life, or what? Do you plan on wearing it the rest of your life like this, or I'm just curious? And she was like, yeah, till the vaccine comes out.
Until we get a vaccination, yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's creepy. Why is that creepy, she says. I said, it's like creepy sorcery. Like, it seems like sorcery to me. Thank you.
Vaccines?
Yeah. Putting something in your blood.
They put the dead virus in your blood.
Witches would do that. Like, they make a potion and a, you know, like witch's brew, you know? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's creepy. She was like, no, I don't want to get COVID-19. And I said, yeah, I don't think you gotta worry about that. And she said, well, you don't have the antibodies, you should wear a mask.
No one has the antibodies for the coronavirus unless you get infected with it.
Like, well, I'm not sick, so I don't want to do that, and I won't take a vaccine either. I trust the vaccine, someone said.
I trust in the vaccination.
I said, creepy sorcery, and I walked out. Me, it's creepy. Have a good day. Don't comply with anti-science. Everywhere you go, tell everyone you see wearing a mask that it's going to make them sick, and that it is anti-science, and that they are inviting bacteria and all sorts of bad things and a lack of oxygen into their life willingly in effort to protect no one, because it doesn't help.
And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666.
Paul Feiner is putting everyone on notice about a measure that will kick in next week. Under his emergency order, employees and customers at grocery stores and pharmacies must have their temperatures taken.
To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Workers will be sent home and you will not be allowed in.
Normal temperature. Normal temperature. Normal temperature. Normal temperature. High temperature.
All right, listen to this. A local Chinese restaurant is taking drastic measures to keep the staff and customers from the coronavirus. So no one is allowed to be seated without a temperature check. So the temperature check may be the new norm as this virus continues to spread.
Okay.
This is Sophia the robot. Sophia, welcome. How do we use AI to stop or slow the spread of the coronavirus?
Turn your television off already. I am going to warn you about a vaccine.
Did I hear her use the word vaccine?
Yeah.
AI tracking people.
Don't wear a mask and don't take any vaccine. Turn off your television and homeschool your children.
Can you help us find a cure?
I already told you. No television, no pandemic. Global pandemic my ass. No globe, and no pandemic.
How can they stop a future pandemic from ever taking place?
Burn your television. Stop believing lies. Where do they get these guys?
My name is Emily, and my question is, how does it feel to know that you are floating in a piece of metal in an endless